And hello, everybody. Welcome along, late tea time podders out there. We're back again. I am James, and I'm joined, I'm delighted to say, by Matt Cooper, who was fantastic last week. Matt Cooper came on, and oh no, he's back. It's the Tindall's back. Hello, Mr. T.
Hello, yes, Matt did very well. Well done to Matt. If we're going to get rid of anyone from this podcast, I think it should be you.
Well, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. We'll bring Matt on. He can do a double act with him.
Yeah.
Considering that was his first appearance, he spoke very well, far better than you.
Yeah.
He had a 50% success rate with the bets he put up, far better than you. So why are you here still?
I don't know. It's a question I always ask myself. Let's just get Matt to do it solo.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if you're watching, Matt, thank you very much for last week for stepping in. Hopefully you enjoyed your holiday, DT.
Yes, I went to Paris. It was lovely.
You were looking at the Mona Lisa when I saw you on Facebook, but with a big bloke's head in the way.
Always the case. Wherever you go, there's always a big fella stood right in front of you. So I got a picture just to mark the occasion of the 8-foot man that was blocking my view.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. Seeing as I like it, I'm going to give you a chance to redeem yourself. You can fight back this week because we have action both stateside and in Europe, and we're going to start off in the US of A. The Tour Championship is to be played there, and Scotty Scheffler is the favourite. He's 9-4. Patrick Cantlay 4-1. You've got Xander Schauffele in there at 13-2 with Rory McIlroy 9s. John Rahm's 14s, Tony Finau is 20s, and the rest are obviously bigger. You were reminding me, DT, just before we pressed record or broadcast or whatever it is, that it's a rather peculiar scoring system, which I half remember from last year, but fill me in again.
Yeah, it's a staggered start. So the leader in the Fedex Cup rankings has a start, which seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Because like the best player this season is given stroke. So the last one, they should flip it, although it would be unfair, wouldn't it? So Scotty Scheffler, who leads the FedEx Cup ranking, starts the tournament 2 shots clear of everyone else. Patrick Cantlay, so he starts at -10. Patrick Cantlay at -8. Now, there should have been Will Zalatoris at -7, but he's pulled out. He's got an injury, so he's not there. Then we dropped to Xander Schauffele in third at -6, so that's 4 behind Scotty Scheffler. Then Sam Burns at -5, and then down at Rory's at -4, by the way, with Cameron Smith, Finau, Sung Jae Im, and Sepp Straka, and so on and so on. So
I can see your thought process in that if you actually started them off in reverse order, it would be a bit fairer because they'd all meet on the 18th level.
Well, I don't think it'd be fairer.
Effect,
I think it'd be vastly unfair, but it would make a more interesting viewing.
After a season's efforts, it would be a little bit unfair on the ones that have done well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it would be as a viewer, you would think, wow, this is interesting. It's like on the said this before, like on the Krypton Factor. Do you remember that?
Mm.
So like the leader would have to kind of get penalised, so it would be like a sort of handicap, and everyone would, in theory, finish at the same time. But yeah, they've asked a number of players in the press conferences this week, is it fair or is this a good system? And most of them have gone, nah. But they've also said we can't really think of another better way. I've heard a few people say.
Did Scotty Scheffler say nah, or was he happy that he's leading?
He said he's never had this before in his career, but he'll take it as you would. I've seen a few people say match play might be the way to go. So this 30-man field, maybe add 2 more in. You could have match play, which could be something to think about in the future. But at the moment, you're kind of thinking it's between the top 4 or 5. Like someone like KH Lee, JT Poston, Aaron Wise start at even par. I mean, how are they going to give 10 shots to Scotty Scheffler? It's just daft.
I seem to remember when we talked about it last year that we eliminated, like you just said there, people right down the bottom ends. But I seem to remember you still looked kind of midway to see if anybody could come on the charge. Is there anybody potentially from a few shots back that might feature?
Well, the other thing that punters have got going for them this week, there's almost 2 markets. Well, there is 2 markets. There's 2 ways of looking at this. You can just see who comes out on top with the staggered start, or you can bet it as you would a normal event and just back X player to shoot the lowest 72-hole score. So last year, Kevin Na was joint lowest score, and he'd started at -2, so he was never going to win the FedEx Cup, but there was still a chance he could shoot the lowest score, and he did, along with John Rahm. And I guess with that, the kind of some of the psychology there, he played without pressure really, because he wasn't going to win, so he could almost sort of, it's not like imagine if you were really one shot clear, like in the actual whole tournament itself. That's very different to being one shot clear on some race that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
So from a betting point of view, it probably does help those further down. So that's certainly one way to play it.
I mean, you'd imagine it frees some of them up to just have a bit of a swing and see how close they can get, doesn't it? And that might actually increase their scoring or decrease their scoring, rather.
Yeah, say that's one way to look at it. As it happens, though, I'm going to play the actual who wins the whole lot thing market.
Okay.
The actual FedEx Cup, because, well, yeah, Scotty Scheffler obviously is the favourite. Cantlay, who won it last year, is the favourite. Cantlay almost sort of proved that the kind of the fall down of such a system, because he had a lead and he just kept it. He just sort of kept everyone at bay, and it was like not a very good spectacle, really.
And he was playing really well at the time, wasn't he? So
he was playing great. Yeah, so no one could get in a blow. So it was all a bit of a slight anticlimax, to be honest. And then with Scheffler leading, it's like, oh. So I've had a look, as well as, you can roll out all these at even par, -1, -2, say. So then you can eliminate it further by, if you go to Bet365, they've got a market without Scheffler. So you just remove him. So in effect, then Patrick Cantlay is your leader at -8. Doesn't matter what Scheffler does, good, bad, or indifferent. So the player I'm going to back is Xander Schauffele.
Okay.
In the market, that's the outright market, without Scotty Scheffler. Now he's 9-2 to win that. Stretching over to press my mouse. So he's 9-2 Schauffele. Was that you?
It's a mouse.
Very good. I thought it was like a truck outside, like an Amazon delivery. I am expecting something. So Schauffele, he's superb on this course. He's won the event before when it was a normal system without the staggered start, and he's also shot the lowest 72-hole score before. So it's a course that suits him. They actually asked Patrick Cantlay in the one interviewer hadn't done his research and says, you've played really well here before, haven't you? And he went, I think you're thinking of Xander Schauffele. And the guy should have been thinking of Xander Schauffele. Those two are good mates, so I don't know, whatever confusion took place. But I don't know how important this is. But Schauffele and Cantlay had a little practice game against Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth yesterday. Schauffele and Cantlay won. It's a little something else just on top of.
Just as an aside, does Spieth and Thomas actually share the same house and bed and live together? Because they are seem inseparable on the tour, don't they?
Yes. Well, I
don't know. Wise wake up in the morning and get the.
I don't know. They sleep like Laurel and Hardy together like that, with their sort of hats on and woolly socks. But
you'd imagine they can afford 2 beds.
Yeah, but they have their There's a lot of these pairings that then come out in like international in the President's Cup when they play the internationals or the Ryder Cup, and Cantlay and Schauffele is a kind of absolute stellar pairing. So it could be that they end up playing together. But Schauffele, at the minute, he's the course expert, and he's also had a fantastic summer. He won the Travellers, he won the Scottish Open, he was 15th in the Open Championship, he was 3rd last week. So he's had, from a guy who was struggling to win, he's had a fantastic summer. He's brilliant in these limited field events for whatever reason. They seem to suit him. Maybe it just sort of whittles it down and gives him a focus that maybe he doesn't get when there's everyone around him. So he's the one, yeah. So if you eliminate Scheffler, that takes another kind of barrier away, and suddenly the pathway seems quite clear for him to go and get the win. And 9-2. So Cantley will start at -8. Schauffele at -6. So yeah, and obviously others could come past him from behind. I think it'll be a tough old nut to crack, Sander Schauffele, this week, and I'm happy to play that 9-2 without Schauffele.
So without Scotty Scheffler, Cantley is leading at -8, but Scheffler's there at 6 under 9-2, which bizarrely is the same price as the bet that Matt won last week. So it literally is a head-to-head as we go through the weekend's golf. Let's move across, shall we? Back into into Europe, and I'll come across on my screens as well, so I get the right prices up for this one. But it's the European Masters being played as well at the same time. I'll give you the top end of the markets for this one. And you've got Ryan Fox in there leading the field at 18 under. Adrian Maronk is in there at 22. You've got Rasmus Højgaard, who we spoke about the Højgaards quite a lot, haven't we, on this podcast, 28-1. Robert McIntyre, who we've also mentioned a few times, 30-1. Richard Mansell's 33, as is Tristan Lawrence and Adrianus.
Your pronunciation is getting better, isn't it, as we go on?
You have to be careful with the Arnus one, don't
you? Yeah.
But how are we saying this one?
Well,
he says, getting away from his pronunciation. How are we saying this one?
There's a problem this week. It's one of the most. It's probably the most picturesque course on the DP World Tour, if not anywhere in golf. And a lot of the players absolutely love this because it's set up in the Swiss Alps, high in the mountains, beautiful scenery. Unfortunately, that scenery will take a bit of a hammering by the weather this week.
Oh, is it going to be bad?
Yeah, so you've got thunderstorms predicted for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which kind of puts a bit of a dampener, literally, on proceedings. So it makes it hard to pick. But
if they're bad thunderstorms, it could actually delay it quite significantly because they don't play in the thunder and lightning, do they?
No. So I mean, they're high up in the mountains. You don't want to. No risks will be taken. So what I've decided is that there is one good day of action, and quite handily, it's the Thursday. So I'm going to look at the first round leader market when everything is nice and set fair, and the sun is shining, and the views are spectacular. So a couple have come to attention today, which is the whole point of this podcast. So they've interviewed Ryan Fox, you mentioned there as the market leader. Now he is. I wasn't quite. What was his outright price? Have you still got that? It wasn't. It didn't.
I've changed the first round leader. He's 35-1 to be first round leader.
Yeah, but what was he for outright?
Well, you're asking me to actually work on this podcast.
I don't think you'd have the wherewithal to change page so quickly.
18-1 he
is.
Yeah,
18-1 doesn't really appeal. I mean, he's got a 9th here, so that's good.
Do you want me to dance for you as well?
Say again?
Do you want me to dance for you as well? Anything else you want me to do?
No, just do your job. Rest of the lip, boy. And then, so 18-1 outright, whatever. It's sort of all right. He's best player in the field, you'd say. But first round leader market, as you've touched on there, he's double the price, isn't he? 35-1. And he's got a better strike rate. Ryan Fox has been the first round leader 3 times in his last 13 starts.
Ooh.
How good is that? That's tremendous stuff, isn't it? He's just a player who can burst from the traps. Now, in lovely, glorious weather, this is the chance to do it. And then they've interviewed him today as well. And he just said a couple of things that made me extra keen for that. He said one of the reason why he's played better this year, he says his putting has come on a lot. He used to be sort of outside the top 100. Now he's in around 50th. Because he's a New Zealander, in COVID times, he had real trouble getting home, obviously.
Yeah.
He said that affected him, but he said that's all gone now. And for the first time, he's got his wife. His wife normally comes with him there, but he's got his daughter there as well. So he says it's a nice family occasion. So a nice, in-form, relaxed Ryan Fox and master at coming out of the traps fast. I just thought that 35-1. He gets 7 places with Boyle Sports. I think that's the best. Not only it's the best price, it's the best each way terms as well.
So he can go out there and blast a really low one on Thursday and then shelter with his family from the thunder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, he can protect them from all the grim stuff. But yeah, so hopefully he can make hay while the sun shines.
I like that. I like that a lot. So we've got 2 there. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest
Yeah.
before we? You
So
only
the
got one
other,
more of you. Oh,
well, the other one in this event, Sebastian Soderberg, he's done the DP World Tour's player blog. I've got rain on the mind. Player blog this week because he won this a couple of years ago, and yeah, it kind of jogged my memory. Golf moves so fast and event to event, but it reminded me it was a 5-man playoff when he won it, and one of those players was Rory McIlroy. So to beat him in a playoff, I mean, that gives him that sort of chest out, extra spring in his step for playing this event. Now he's certainly consistency isn't his thing. Let's put it that way. So he blows hot and cold, but one of his other wins, I noticed, came at the still a strange name for a golf club, Karen Golf Club.
okay.
Which has a different meaning these days, isn't it? Karen, my children tell me. So
I don't know because I'm not a child.
right,
I'm going to have to Google that afterwards.
you have children, but a bit grown up more than me. But Karen Golf Club, and you might know this as a cricket fan. It's in Nairobi, in Kenya.
Yeah.
It was in Kenya. It's at altitude, so it's about 1,800 meters above sea level. So he's won that. He's won this up in the mountains. This is a guy who clearly likes playing in the rarefied air, where you have to pull different clubs and the air's a bit thinner. So he loves it up on a hill, doesn't he? He loves it being high up.
It does make
Unlike me in the Eiffel Tower last week when I had my attack of.
I usually take the mickey out of you, but I would never take the mickey out of you on that because I've got a fear of heights too.
Have you? What's yours then? How does it manifest?
I don't get the urge to jump. I can't understand anybody that says that. Well, I want to cling on to things and stay away from the edge. I got a fear of falling rather than an urge to jump, I think.
It's just that devil saying I could jump here and just. I know. It's a similar thing when you're
a very strange man.
Saying you're doing a boat trip, and which we did actually. We went along the Seine. But say in Paris, say you're doing a boat trip. So it's just a little voice. I do sound a bit mad. Saying I could just throw my phone in the sea, and it's just you couldn't you? You could. It's an option that you could take.
There's lots of things you can do, but you get arrested for most of them.
Well, no, but it's, or maybe say a less dramatic one. You go to the theatre, and I did go to the theatre as well. I went to see Hamilton. Go and see that, everybody! What a show! Yeah. But in the theatre, when I was a sixth former, I used to go and watch Shakespeare, and I didn't have a clue what was going on. Not a Scooby-Doo. It was just absolutely baffling. So I got the urge to shout out, "This is rubbish," or ruder words than that.
And
just because it's all silent and you shouldn't.
And did you ever do it?
No, I just talked about doing it.
So you just repressed, aren't you?
Well, I think there's a website called fighttheurge.com. It's just I never do these things, but it's just the possibilities are there, aren't they, to do?
Yeah, well, plenty of people make up for it in golf with "get in the hole" and all those kind of strange things they shout on the first tee and what have you as people get underway with the old golf. But back to the rarefied atmosphere, the cricket, Joburg, the ground there is at altitude, and they've had some big scores there because the ball flies further. Yeah. You hit a shot that might be on any other ground at normal levels, caught on the boundary edge, sails into the crowd instead, so you get value for your shots in
and that's the thing with golf, because it flies further, you've got to judge it. So some players, they're kind of being told it, but they find it hard to adjust. But clearly Soderberg has won twice at altitude. So to cut to the point and stop talking about me jumping off buildings, I'm very happy. I'm very content in life, just to say. It's a little silly urge.
When Matt Cooper's back on next week, and you'll do.
No, I'll never do it, but I'll always have the thoughts that I could do that if I wanted, but I won't. Where were we?
You're going to give me your bet, which is the
Yeah.
purpose of this podcast. Yeah.
So it's a therapy session about
Have
me.
the urge to shout your bet out now.
Yeah. So Sebastian Soderberg, yeah, I just think he's got that. We don't know how it's going to pan out over the 4 days because of the weather, but on day one, he can immediately click into that ability to play at altitude, choose different clubs, be happy hitting them and trusting his yardage. He's 80-1 for first round leader.
Yeah, 80-1, 7 places with Sky Bet.
Yeah, he said, yeah, when he won, he said he putted well. And if you look at week to week, his putting, some players are sort of their average. He's either really good or terrible.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was terrible maybe last time, it shouldn't put you off, because it's a bit like your mate Colin Morikawa can suddenly spike and suddenly he holds the putts and then he keeps on holding them. So I'm just hoping if he has a good putting week to go the rest of his game, or his iron play, which looks in good shape, he can do us a Thursday favour at 80-1.
I'm going to do something for you now, Dave Tindall. I'm going to read through your best bets just to sum them up at the end of this podcast. And if you feel the urge to say, shut up, James, or throw something at me, go for it. Free those demons as I go through this.
There's no jeopardy there, though, is there? There's no
you've been allowed to now.
Consequence if I shouted.
You've been allowed to, haven't you? So it's it kind of takes away. So be quiet now. The Tour Championship, we got Xander Schauffele. The market without Scotty Scheffler. Xander Schauffele is 9-2 to win the Tour Championship in the European Masters. The first round leader market, Ryan Fox. He's double your money. He's double the price he is to win the whole thing. He's 35-1, 7 places with Boyle Sports to be top of the leaderboard come the end of the first 18 holes. And then Sebastian Soderberg, 80-1. The Master at altitude, 80-1, 7 places with Sky Bet to win the European Masters. Dave Tindall, go off and do something extraordinary. Go off and embarrass yourself somewhere.
Just pull you up there. What did you say, the 80-1? Were you reading the outright or the first round leader there?
80-1 for Soderberg was for the outright.
No, I've said we're not doing him for the outright because of the weather.
Are we going first round leader?
Yeah. You see,
you did jump in.
You don't listen.
You did. Well, I gave you the opportunity to jump in and say, shut up, Jones, and you've done it.
I just thought I'd listen to you.
So he's 80-1, 7 places with Sky Bet for the first round leader, is he?
No, he's 80-1 first round leader with quite a few. I think you might get 6 places.
Okay.
Have you got that open? You have a look at that. By the way, I'm sure that fellow, what do you call it that you don't like heights? What's the technical term?
Vertigo.
Vertigo. I'm sure there are other sufferers who will be listening to me and be nodding along that, yes, it's exactly what I
Well, it's strange, isn't it, how we have the same fear. 80-1, by the way, 5 places with William Hill, 6 places with Unibet. Yeah, that's the best you can get. 6 places. Yeah, Unibet or Betfred. 80-1, Sebastian Soderberg for first round leader. Yeah, strange we've got the same fear, and yet you have the urge to jump, and I have the urge to basically get as far away from the edge as possible.
I mean, I think I've got both of those, because I also think, what if there was like a massive gust of wind that could blow you over? Yeah. Or say there's a crowd and like 3 people and you knocked each other down like Skittles and I was on the end and I end up being launched off the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. I'm actually, it's bizarre because I'm okay if I can hold on to something I think is solid. If I'm high up, but I'm holding on to something I know isn't going to give, then I feel vaguely okay. But if I'm totally free of anything, then that's when I feel like I'm vulnerable.
So the other little element, I really like flying. I'm a really happy flyer because I know there's no way I can get out. So there's no urge.
Yeah, I'm fine with flying as well. You see all these people that are clutching sick bags and looking petrified.
Oh, I love flying.
I actually really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? It's odd.
Yeah. But anyway, so you can tune in next week for the next edition of the Vertigo podcast with James and Dave, and we'll throw in a bit of golf as well next week along the way too. So enjoy the golf, everybody. Gamble responsibly. DT, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome back.
Hopefully people aren't now worried for Mike.
Is
he going to be all right? Is he a bit mad?
At Dave
No.
Tindall Golf, if you've got any suggestions for DT, or at Late Tea Time Pod, if you've got any suggestions for either of us, which keep them friendly. And we will see you again around about the same time